Hello, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in sunny San Gabriel Valley of Southern California. And that gentleman out there is
Rick Levy, also in sunny Southern California.
Is far south. Rick and I have, again, the dubious distinction of breaking down and dissecting a mezcal that is so rare that they only sent us the card.
It's a scratch and sniff.
It's a scratch and sniff, ladies and gentlemen. Right here, just anybody, hey, somebody give me a quarter. Feel like I'm playing lotto or something, a scratcher. This is what the bottle is supposed to look like. Okay, we don't know who's making it. We don't know what it's made of, but it looks really pretty, and it's pink. You know, so this is the bottle. It's called OAX, which is just the first three letters of Oaxaca. I just don't know where to cut OAX. So anyway, and this is the sample they sent us. Of course, it's not even a full sample because it's so rare. It's so rare, Rick, that we didn't get a full sample.
They can't spare that extra half an ounce.
Yeah, this was not. By the way, this was not seepage or evaporation. These came. I just broke the seal off of mine, off camera. This is how they filled it. Just fill it to the label. Okay. All right. So here we go. We're gonna. This is a Tepeztate, which is Rick's safe word, and it's at 44 ABV. I got nothing. We're gonna pour it in a Stazo Jarrito. We're gonna taste the juice because that's all we got. So I say we just can't even break.
I'll try not to pour more than half.
Yeah,
the Stazo Jarrito for Mezcal.
And
please, sir, may I have another drop?
I'm being so stingy because they were. So wow, that's not even enough to show on camera.
I know.
Wait, let me go back in for a little bit more. This is why, folks, we ask for full bottles, because especially with mezcals and most tequilas, it requires that. Plus, it's product placement for the brand. We try to help the brand as much as possible, but when all we have is this, the card, that's all you're getting too. So here we go. So,
and if it's good, we're going to end up doing a critical tasting a few times with it.
Yes.
Once is the first time here on the show, and then after that, if it gets nominated for Brands of Promise, we're going to be evaluating it as part of that competition as well.
Yep.
And this is going to be difficult for me to first, it's enough to review on the show, but it's it's going to be hard for me to review for the awards.
Yeah. So we're just putting that out there. But anyway, again, beautiful legs and tears on this one. We're just swirling it around for those of you who are listening to us on the podcast. Yeah. I'll give you a oh, nice legs and tears. Wow, look at that.
Really slow to develop on.
Yes, and they're slowly streaming. This is like Netflix in slow mo. That's beautiful. That is really gorgeous.
Yeah.
So, Rick, just from looking at it, I'm thinking the mouthfeel is going to be really good.
You would think, right?
Yeah. That is really pretty. That is nice. Wow, look at that.
So what about the nose?
So let's see what we got. Yeah, I know you're nosing it already, so. Okay, so this is the deeper, denser one that now I'm getting some more of that, the deeper, denser wood notes from the plant.
A little bit of anise, a little more than
more than the Tobala. just ever minimal alcohol. It's just so nice.
It's a denser aroma, but it's not jumping out of the glass the way the Tobola was.
No, the Tobola, like I mentioned in the review, the Tobola was much brighter than I was expecting, and much less savory and more of the herbaceousness and you know, I don't want to call it woodsiness, I call it fibrousness on the palate. This has taken a while to open up. I think that's what it is, Rick. Is it's take. See again, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot for the Stasso Jarrito to do its work, but we got to, you know, this plant, this particular plant does take a while to grow. So you know,
right? Yeah, this is one of the ones that takes longer. It's probably, you know, then they're mentioning a range of 12 to 25 years. So Tepeztate is going to be at that higher end.
Yeah. Still, you know, Rick is still it's still bright though. It's still at the bottom of the glass. There's some really good bright notes in it. Because on the top, it's that little bit layer of the fibrousness, the denseness. But when you tilt the glass and you go inside it, it's really bright. It's brighter.
Right. Yeah, I'm getting some lime zest and some grassiness.
Yeah. I did at the very beginning, did get a little bit of that anise, and then just kind of disappeared, you know. In fact, it was almost like a it was, I don't want to call it smoke. It was more like a burnt, like a caramelized agave. For, you know, these are baked in earthen pits. I imagine because it's ancestral, the pits are rock lined. So,
well, artisanal.
It's artisanal.
Artisanal.
Yeah, yeah. We did figure that out from the website. We had to dig for that information. It's it's complex, but only in its own fashion. You know, it's not like it's, you know what I mean? It's,
yeah, I do know what you mean, and I'm having trouble explaining it as well.
Yeah, well, you know, we're getting certain characteristics, but that's all we're getting. So,
yeah.
So, and that's, you know, the plant it's over 20 years old. So it's gonna, you know, whatever terroir where it was growing, whatever happened around it, all of it's in this juice now. So, and it has its own characteristics. It is brighter at the bottom of the glass, though. I will say that. Well, I'm ready to dive in.
Let's go.
Let's go. There it is. Oh yeah. Oh my. I love this. This is really good.
That's quite nice.
Wow. That was it's a at 44 ABV. It was much more aggressive, much more the sweetness at the front, full pepper explosion at the mid palate.
Right.
Long lingering finish. I love this finish, and I got that fibrousness on my palate, on the retronasal as well, that I was looking for. It's substantial. That's got a great mouthfeel.
Yeah, it's substantial. Very good mouthfeel. It's not as sweet as the Tobola, which I don't think we were expecting anyway.
Wow. This is outstanding. And Tepestates are hard to get. I mean,
yeah,
you know, even us as Tequila Aficionado, we get a lot of them that are just, you know, one plant or a medley or whatever. Sometimes they're thrown in medleys or ensembles. But the Tepeztate alone is hard to get, even for us to get a bottle of it. I think in all of our history so far, we've had maybe 2 or 3 bottles of Tepeztate alone. and everything else has been part of a medley, I think.
Right.
Wow. That's beautiful. There's more on the intake than there is on the nose. And I'm okay with that. I'm all right with that.
It may not be as big as other Tepezstates that I've had, but I think those probably would have had a more ancestral process. And, you know, this is using a bit more of a modern artisanal process. It's very, very clean.
Yeah, the one thing I will say, and I don't know why I'm getting
It's
it.
not smoky.
No, I get a little bit of the fusel oil, but just a hint. And I get it at the rear of my palate, then it disappears. And I'm okay with that too, because that could either be the fusel oils or it could be just what's left of the smoke. Okay, it's one or the other, but it's at the rear of my palate. It's just a hint bitter, but that's it. Then it's gone.
Yeah.
So I think that is part of the characteristic of the plant and probably the process. I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to pour a little bit more because I see, this is why we require at least a full one of these, you know, because
it's difficult. It's difficult to evaluate.
Well, you know, when you have so much going on with a plant like that, it requires a little bit more, even though the Stossel doesn't require a lot of a sample, but it requires a couple, 2, 3 pours, you know, if you're still, because it keeps evolving in the glass and evolves in the bottle. And especially if it's a plant that is hard to get by itself, you know, it would have been nice to have a full bottle or at least a 375, you know, a 375.
Yeah.
It would have been
a better reference.
Yes, for better references, like Rick said, he's got to go back and reevaluate these for brands of promise. And I'm going to go right now and just nominate it as a brand of promise nominee in that in this category. I have to look back at my records. I can't even remember when the last time we had just one single Tepeztate, because most of it's always in a medley, in an ensemble. Yeah, but see now, it's bright on top, dense at the bottom, and it's nice. It's a nice dovetail. Yeah, folks, if you're going to send these samples to us, especially your brand owners who are getting into Mezcal and all that, please, if you can't spare a full one, 375, I'm good with that. You know, even Oaxaca. Remember Oaxaca? They used to have the bottles. They had like I forget what size that is, and they're, you know, minis are hard to get. They're expensive to make, and I get that. I understand that the specific sizes of bottles are as expensive as full size bottles. You know, there's really no margin when you make a mini because they cost as much as making your full bottles. But you know, for the sake of a complicated plant like that, it really does. It deserves to have a much, for us who know what we're talking about, it deserves a much bigger sample. Okay, that's what I'll say. Wow.
So far, though, we've had. I would characterize them as beautiful profiles suitable for polite company.
Yeah. Yes. Well said.
So maybe if you are buying a you know the fancy bottle, and you know, you're having your showing or your cocktail hour in your private art gallery, or you know, the profile is it fits.
For those of you who are listening to us on Spotify, I'm holding up the card and just flipping it back and forth on the screen, so you get a pretty good idea of what this is. It looks like a monolith. It looks like one of those monoliths that was showing up in
And
the desert and then would disappear overnight.
we have these different teaser cards, and mine are different than Mike's.
Yeah,
I've got one that's surrounded by flowers, and it looks like
you got all the artsy stuff, and I
print.
got, yeah.
And then I've got the photo where everything's in black. Mike has one where everything's pink and another one where everything's white. But I'm not sure which bottle corresponds to which plant.
Well, the white is the Tobolak. The pink is this Tepeztate, which
oh, you know that. How are you finding that out?
well, because look, pink on pink, dude. See?
Ah, all right.
The pink label that they, the customized pink label that they put on their little mini on this little
there you go.
Milliliter.
You've broken the code, Mike.
I've broken the walk code. So anyway, that's I got nothing else to say. I think oh wait, there's one more thing I gotta say. And Rick's allowed me to be the hatchet man this time. I'm gonna give you a pricing, folks. So for the pink bottle, drum roll please, the pink bottle, Wok Original Tepeztate, $196.79 on Drizzly. But if you want to but if that's not enough for you to pay, hey man, Curiata.com has the original Tepeztate monolith at $211.99 with a $17.99 shipping. Wow. Okay.
Well, that said, a good Tepeztate, you're probably looking to pay $100 a bottle.
Oh, of course.
To start.
Yes.
And
but the rest is,
but I've got $100 bottles of Tepeztate in hand-blown glass that I think are perfectly beautiful.
Yeah, but they don't look like this pink. Look how good they look on the pink card.
And all right, I'm gonna say it. I held back on the first review from
Don't hold back.
But
Don't hold back.
You know what this reminds me of? We're seeing these, pink on pink in a pink room, white on white in a white room, black on black in a black room. It reminds me of air fresheners that you sit on your end table that are supposed to, sort of dissolve into the background. You don't notice it until, the little top goes.
What do you mean, like to get in the men's restroom? they're on a timer. I used to sell them. They're on a timer. You have to change the battery out, just like you do with your, with your smoke alarm.
Well, it's like you can buy them from, Glade brand in your department store, but
I want one like Macy's.
They're trying to do these.
They
try to do these dispensers that are fairly artistic looking, but it's still just a plastic cylinder that you're not supposed to notice on your end table. But I don't know if it's such an artistic, beautiful bottle. Why I can't even pull it out from the background in this artwork. I don't know.
Maybe
there's marketing decisions being made that I don't understand, and I'm more interested in the craft anyway. Yeah. So that's where I'm coming from.
And that's what we're rating this obviously on the juice brand of promise nominee.
Profile is excellent.
The profile is excellent.
Quality. Yeah.
And just to give you some background that I had to dig for on the website, I want to give a shout out to the Maestro Mezcalero, because that poor guy, he had to deal with this. His name is Maestro Mezcalero Enrique Hernandez Seña. And you know what? Props to him. These are all wild harvested, cooked in slow cooked in the ground, oak and mesquite for that's the wood they're using. Stone ground by using a horse. It's obviously a Tahona. Wild yeast and pine barrels, double distilled, and all by this gentleman. We don't know what he looks like because there's no picture of him, and maybe that's okay.
But boy, wouldn't it have been nice to have a 375 bottle of this juice with his picture on it?
You know, Rick, somebody should hire Rick to do mezcal marketing.
Well,
Because right now this is
they're not marketing to me. I'm not their market for this juice.
you're not
It's excellent juice, but I'm obviously not their market.
Hey, well, neither am I. But regardless, we do recognize good taste when we taste it. So here it is, Brand of Promise nominee in the Tepeztate category. That's it. That's all we got. You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media. All of our channels and networks. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest. That's right, we're on Pinterest. And if you're listening to us on the podcast, wherever you download, whether it's Spotify, iTunes, please do subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit the notification bell. Give us a like, because that helps us on the algorithm, because life runs on the algorithm. And whatever you do, sabiamente.
Sip wisely.